explain what happened.
You want to go over to your shop?
Yeah, let's
Yeah, we'll go over here.
shop.
Oh, what?
Actually, right here we got the shuttles outside, and yeah, I brought it down to the shop. Now, what do you want me to talk about? What happened the day we was
Explain
here?
to people who've never been through something like this,
Right.
what it was like and how it changes everybody's life.
Yeah. This is the biggest flood that we've ever had. I'm 56 years old and never seen anything like this. The town is basically completely destroyed. Our livelihoods are destroyed. This business has been in this family's for 30-something years, and I don't know what we'll do. You know, how it's just amazing the people that has come in and tried to help, but to try to get a hold of the scope and awe of how much is done here, you can't until you see it. You know, seeing your building completely submerged in water, and you know the oil barrels going up Main Street, you know, in a current is just more than you can really understand, and to see it, it's bad. So that's all I got.
Look, I'm telling you right now, folks, from hearing all of these stories, hearing all of these firsthand accounts, seeing the devastation ourselves, hearing from people on the ground, and having personal conversations with people on the ground, I can tell you that the death toll is definitely way higher than what they're telling us right now. In one area just yesterday, from what I'm hearing, they found like 100 bodies. Now, was that an exaggeration a little bit? Maybe. But if it was 80 bodies, 70 bodies, 60 bodies, what's the number that would make you care? Because all it takes is one person to lose their life for this to be a tragedy. Yet in some areas, there's still the devastation, the amount of debris that is everywhere, the caked up, piled up mud. And I don't think people realize this, but like I'm talking about just mud on top of mud on top of mud, entire cars covered in mud. So this is going to be one of the hardest jobs out there that I could even think of. I can't think of a situation where it would be harder to find, you know, I don't want to be too graphic, but harder to find bodies. I mean, we've seen fires where people were reduced to ashes, and in many ways it was kind of easier to find them and identify them then. So that's how bad this situation is. And everyone thinks that when something like this happens, it's over once the storm is over. But that is not the case for many of these areas, especially the mountainous areas. Folks, within the last 2 days, I'm not talking about during the storm or the 2 days after the storm. I'm talking about now, a week after the storm. Over the past 2 days, there has been over 150 landslides. And people who are doing search and recovery efforts are getting caught in these landslides. There are linemen, people out there chopping down trees, you name it, who are losing their lives. So a lot of the people who are helping, you know, they're helping in some very dangerous situations, and people are still dying from the after effects of this hurricane. That's how devastating it is. We're here a week out from the hurricane, and there's still landslides. There's still limbs and trees toppling over, injuring, hurting, and killing people in many cases. But I want you all to hear from this guy who is explaining basically what they're still going through. Because like I said, when you think of a hurricane, when you think of something like this, you think the worst of it is during the storm, but that's not always the case. And the story doesn't end after the storm. And right now, many people who were affected by this last hurricane are now gearing up to deal with another one. And even those certain areas that were impacted by Helene, even though a lot of these certain areas won't take a direct impact from Milton, just random little thunderstorms and stuff like that can cause catastrophes, straight chaos. Because of what has happened to these areas, it's like, it's hard for me to explain it, but now it's going to be easier for these places to flood, okay? You had rivers that were 10 yards wide that are now 100 yards wide. So the geography, if you will, has kind of changed. And you had dam failures and you name it. So Lord knows what we're going to be looking at over the next couple of days. Over the next couple of days, it's going to be a very trying time for many Americans. But like I said, I want you all to hear from this person on the ground who is still dealing with landslides and things like that. And then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
Okay, guys, here's the update. October 7th, Monday, October 7th. We're here at Black Mountain, North Carolina. We started our day in Mitchell County. The Ledger emergency meeting management was ran by the county manager. He opened the meeting by telling us, actually opened the meeting with a prayer, which was nice. He opened the meeting after that by telling us that they have extensive wastewater issues there. And the reason they have that is because during the storm, the entire water treatment, sewage treatment plant floated downriver. So that's a serious problem that they're dealing with. We learned that there's a potential for floods here still, and that potential threshold is now lower. And what I mean by that is the amount of water it would have normally taken to flood this area is now significantly reduced because of the landslides, the way the topography changed. So now it'll take less water to flood this area. So we've got that hurricane. I hope it doesn't go across Florida and then come back in. And if it does, this area may be in trouble again, which brings up the wind risks. So with that storm coming across Florida, something happened today. A light breeze came and blew a tree over, and it landed on two search and rescue workers that are now in critical condition. And so the soil is still real loose. So what they're fearful of here is that hurricane even increases the winds a little bit in this area. We're going to see a lot more trees falling on people and houses and more damage. As a matter of fact, we learned that there was something around approximately 150 recorded landslides in the last 2 days alone. So those types of things are still happening. We learned about in the Red Hill area within the last day, North Toe River, I want to say, in the Red Hill area, there was 100 bodies pulled out approximately or spotted. And when you look at this North Toe River on a 3D terrain map, it's very unforgiving and it's very steep along the river. If you've ever been through rural areas on a river, most of the time when you're right at the bottom of the mountain on a river, there's no dock, there's no way to just get off. So these bodies that are there very likely may be there for a while. I don't remember if I learned in the briefing today whether or not they pulled 100 bodies out or they were spotted. Some of our teams that were out there, and the ground crew came across some brush piles where there was the smell of, we're not exactly sure it was deceased, but, well, we're sure it was deceased is what I'm saying, but we're not sure if it's a human or an animal. But there's a section of the creek that drone teams are going to be going, Swannanoa River. We're going to be looking along the banks tomorrow, headed out there, because we've got some suspicions that we're going to find some things. Ground crew and drone teams were out there and did a little bit of searching. and we're going to go out there and search a lot more tomorrow morning. So yeah, it's still dangerous out there. There's a lot of supplies coming in here. We got somebody who came and with a smoker, and they're making lots of meals for volunteers or anybody in the neighborhood that wants to come get food. People are showing up all the time, dropping off supplies. There are a lot of supply drops, so I will say that. But then our guys here, we're finding people in neighborhoods that don't have cars because their cars were washed down the river, so they can't even get to these supply drops. So we found people that needed supplies, and they didn't get the supplies that they need. So, the guys that were with us in our group, as far as the Cajun Navy, a guy named Paul, he was offloading everything in his truck to some of these people in these neighborhoods because they don't have transportation. So there's still a lot to do. We're gonna see what we can find tomorrow, but it does seem that most of this stuff that we're gonna be doing down here is search and recovery instead of search and rescue. So yep, thanks for staying with me, guys. I'll let you guys know what happens tomorrow, and hopefully nothing bad happens tomorrow. I hope that those 2 search and rescue workers who are in critical condition, one of our guys was there and was lifting the tree up off of the one woman. I believe it was a man and a woman, but yeah. So one guy here, he's right beside me. You can't see him, but he is changing the brakes on his truck. There was another guy coming down the mountain, I believe yesterday, with supplies, and his brakes gave out, and 80 miles an hour into the river or the pond, the lake. So this guy here, who's with us, he was running through the mountains and he burned his brakes out. They were smoking, so he's right there changing his brakes. So the mountain terrain is unforgiving on trucks, anybody's brakes, because you're just riding it the whole way down the mountain. So it is still dangerous here, and thank you guys for your support. All the donations that I got definitely came to this building, and they're being distributed. People show up here and they pick up propane or toiletries and water. There's cases and cases and cases of water all around this property right now for people. So we're not short on supplies, but people are still bringing stuff in. Thank you guys. I'm gonna go to bed. Gotta wake up early tomorrow.
So let me go ahead and lay out what's about to happen here, folks. As you all know, we have another massive hurricane coming. Now, some of the people in the areas affected by Helene won't be necessarily affected by this storm, but what will happen is the people who were affected by Helene, they're going to kind of be forgotten about. They're going to be put on the back burner. The media, after already not really doing their job, after calling people conspiracy theorists for telling the truth about what's happening, the media is going to basically forget about the people in North Carolina and what have you, because now we have this new devastating storm, this new crazy news story to cover. So, I mean, I'm having a hard time because I'm still having to worry about all of these storms as well. We're going to be doing whatever we can to still expose what's happening in North Carolina. But we're looking at another situation where I'm hoping that the government response to what's about to happen in Florida is better than what's been happening up in North Carolina and Tennessee. But it's kind of stressful, to be honest, and it's overwhelming. It's absolutely overwhelming. And what I'm afraid of is everything that's gone wrong from Hurricane Helene. A lot of this stuff is going to be memory hold and forgotten about because, like always, we got a new tragedy on our hands that we're going to be focused on. So it's just like a whirlwind right now, and the people who are caught up in this, the people who lost everything, some are still picking up the pieces of their homes, and now they got to leave again. It's absolutely wild. Definitely been a crazy hurricane season here at the end. So we'll see how things shake out. I'm not even sure if I'll have power to be making videos. I don't know how everything is going to work out here as of right now, to be honest with you all. And from what I'm hearing, from North Carolina and stuff, There is still towns that you've never heard of, that I've never even heard of, that still have no help and they're still stranded. Like here we are on Tuesday, and there's people still stranded that haven't gotten any help yet. They haven't been able to. I've seen videos of people trying to make makeshift bridges out of logs and stuff so they can try to travel to some of these supply drop zones. It's insane. But like I said, now we got another crazy hurricane heading this way, and we'll see how that plays out. But for now, let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.